Since the McGirt ruling in 2019, the Choctaw Nation's judicial system has grown by leaps and bounds. In order to better serve the Choctaw people and exercise our sovereignty, we expanded our Department of Public Safety and Prosecutor's Office. We also created a Public Defender's Office and updated our tribal codes to allow our court system to operate more efficiently. I was also proud to appoint our first full-time district court judge, Amy Pierce, in January of this year. I met Judge Pierce for a slice of pie at Magnolia Cafe in Durant to discuss the changes and challenges of our growing judicial system.
So what the McGirt decision is saying is that tribal citizens, they are members of a sovereign government. That was not always treated that way in the state of Oklahoma. The state of Oklahoma would come in and try tribal citizens for criminal matters when they should not have been. And so that's what the Supreme Court effectively recognized in the McGirt decision. So the Choctaw Nation has the right to try its own members for crimes created within the boundaries of the Choctaw Nation. We are a sovereign nation, and that gets lost, and it's a confusing term. People don't understand what sovereign means. And the way I kind of think of it is we are our own country. Our members are citizens in a way of our own country. That's the way to look at it.
Sure. So why do you think there's a confusion over Indian, non-Indian that is portrayed as a particular race, a racism issue? Why do you think that has all came about?
It's a confusing topic, admittedly. I think even those of us who have studied it for years, it's confusing. Unfortunately, I do think there's been a little bit of intentional misinformation, and that's unfortunate because I think everyone who is a citizen of the state of Oklahoma should understand what it means. And also, if you are a tribal member, I hope that you understand what it means. And I hope we can clear up some of the misinformation that's floating around out there as to what McGirt is versus what McGirt is not.
I don't think people understand even sometimes that there is limitations that the federal government has even placed upon us. So it's federal law.
Right.
Even though we're a sovereign nation, we do fall under the sovereignty of the United States. And so, for example, like sentencing. Do you mind explaining to our people about that as well?
The Choctaw tribes and all tribes' ability to sentence comes from the Tribal Law and Order Act. The most that we could sentence someone to would effectively be 9 years. And the way that's calculated is 3 years per charge, or a total of 9 years per criminal proceeding. So those crimes that we are prosecuting are those crimes where we are limited to the 9 years. Crimes that, crimes like murder, those things that would be more than 9 years, that's going to go through our federal system.
And why would it go to the federal system, if you don't mind? I know I'm interrupting you, but
that's absolutely no problem. That's the Major Crimes Act. So what that says is that the federal government has the ability to prosecute and to try those crimes that are defined as major crimes, right? It would be murder, it would be, kidnapping, all those major crimes. But all of those other cases that do not meet the definition of major crimes, those kind of trickle down, and those come down into the tribal court system. And it's a lot of domestic assault.
Violence Against Women Act that was just recently reauthorized and approved, which is a great thing for Indian country.
The statistics are that roughly more than 80% of Native American women will experience violence at some point during their lifetime. That is an astronomical number. So Congress, many years ago, recognized that, and they instituted the Violence Against Women Act. And that gave tribes the right to come in and to try non-natives for matters of domestic violence crime that occurred within the boundaries of their nation. Recently, the enactment that will take effect in October has broadened that jurisdiction. So now the tribe will have the ability to prosecute child abuse cases, sex trafficking cases, sexual violence cases, on top of the cases that we already had jurisdiction of. And I will say this, I think I did not understand until I took this job really and truly how up to speed the Choctaw Nation was. It is incredible to sit in that courthouse and to watch the prosecutors, the public defenders, to come in to try their cases. I've sat through 2 of the jury trials now. They do it well, and they have really stepped up to the task in a very, very short period of time.
Do you believe that our system is better than some of the other governments because of us being able to focus on our own people?
Absolutely. The ability to be creative in this system is unique. It's above and beyond. I have been able to really sit down with both sides in a particular case and say, what's best for this defendant? I've heard the term rack 'em and stack 'em. which means to just try someone and throw them in prison. And that doesn't work. It doesn't help anyone. If there is someone who can be rehabilitated, that's what we want, to be able to at least give them a chance.
Exactly. Like jury trials. So is that difficult? Or is it hard to get jurors to come? Because I know we are a new court system and making all that happen.
Well, it is very similar to the state court system. What is different, though, is we are a 6-member jury system as opposed to most cases in the state are 12-member. We are able to pull as jurors the Choctaw Nation if you are a member of the Choctaw Nation, you are a spouse of a member of the Choctaw Nation, or if you're an employee of the Choctaw Nation. But we pay $100 a day compared to the $20 a day that the state pays. And so far, we've had a really good response. And so from my perspective, I have been so pleased that it's a system that I'm familiar with for 23 years being a lawyer. I was so pleased to see that it's a consistent system just like you would experience at the state and federal level.
You know, you're just talking about 1834 and how our judicial system was. And honestly, what do you think is some of the good and the bad and some of the things that we're struggling or dealing with right now?
So before McGirt, we had roughly 400 cases in that year before. After McGirt, we had nearly 2,700 cases. That is a tremendous difference in caseload. So to think about the manpower and the resources that it takes to gear up from 400 to 2,700 cases, that's a lot. It was a lot of work, it's a lot of man hours, again, a lot of resources. Another difficulty with our system is how do we get them assistance? If we're trying to get them into some sort of rehab, there's typically a waiting list. So where do we go? Where do we put those defendants? Where can they go to get the assistance and the help that they need? What do we do with those defendants that are being sentenced in front of a jury? You know, eventually that is going to grow to a point where we have to address that. What do we do with our prisoners? What do we do with those people who need assistance?
Of course, I hear all aspects of it. And what I mean by that is some people will say, well, how come you're willing to spend that much money on people that's having problems as opposed to spending more of that money on people that's doing well, it's through higher education or through education programs. But the reality is we're a government, you know, and I think people have to accept that now, since our reservation was never disestablished, we can't just kind of pick and choose. We are that government that has to deal with these, good or bad, and we just want to deal with them in the best way for our people.
That's right, it's true. Especially with the juvenile, it is difficult, as you said, to find places to take them, therapeutic foster homes, you know, where they might need to go. What do we do with juvenile offenders? We have the same issues that the state has, and that has been a consistent issue with the state is where do we put people that need the help and where do we find the resources to put them? But as you said, we are a government. We have the same obligations that any government would have. We have to deal with our criminal justice system. That's just the nature of being your own government.
For me, is there anything that our tribal members could do?
With respect to volunteering for the court system, one way that they could assist us is through our Peacemakers Court. What that is if you're familiar with the term of a mediator is sort of a third-party neutral who comes in and deals with the two parties and tries to help them find a resolution. And as a judge, I can make the decision. You may not like my decision. So sometimes to let a neutral come in who's not the judge and to let the two people work it out and they decide what's best, that is really a helpful avenue to resolve cases. Basically, if you're over 18, you're of good moral character, you live within the boundaries of the Choctaw Nation, we would love to have you sign up for our Peacemaker system and come help us.
Well, if you don't mind, I'm going to grab a bite of this and then we'll come back and we'll talk about the Peacemaker Court as well as our Wellness Court.
The concept of justice has been on my mind a lot lately as we've gone through these changes in our judicial system. And I want to thank Judge Pierce for visiting with me about it. Justice means treating people fairly, no matter which side of the courtroom they're on. I'm so proud that we've created a court system that offers options and support every step of the way instead of just focusing on punishment. I know the governor has been very vocal about his belief that tribal courts are not capable of handling the responsibilities that come with the McGirt decision. My conversation with Judge Pierce proves that isn't true. I will defend our sovereign right to operate our judicial system in a way that best serves the Choctaw people and gives them every opportunity to succeed. Chapisa la Chiki.